valve adjustments largely aren't a thing anymore due to the adoption of hydraulic valve tappets, but in the case of this Honda Insight and other Hondas of this vintage, it's still something you have to do. It's simply adjusting the tolerance between the part that actuates the valve and the part that is actuated by the camshaft. There's a little bit of lash there, and that is just what we're going to be setting. So let's get to it. Step one is just going to be pulling off this beauty cover here and seeing what we need to do to get this valve cover off. Looks like we've got some hoses. Actually, does this just pop out? It sure does. Oh, that isn't going anywhere. Okay, fair enough. Tasty. Then we got all the little guts of them. So there we got intake valves and exhaust valves. And of course, this is a 3-cylinder, so there's not a whole lot of those, which makes my job easy, which is very nice. So the mechanism of what we're doing here is we're going to be loosening this jam nut, and we have this flat head that we can spin, and then we're measuring the amount of clearance between this arm and the valve stem here. And we're doing that on all of these. There's a spec for the intake and the exhaust, and that's about it. The first thing to do though is to get the engine so that cylinder 1, which is this one, is at top dead center, which means both of the cam surfaces that the intake and exhaust valves are on are at their lowest point, and there's absolutely no tension on these springs, and that's how we can get our base values. To get the engine to top dead center, I have 19mm socket that I can just put down on the crank somehow. There we go. Okay, so now I can spin the engine over. And in theory, there is a mark on the crankshaft that will tell me when it is at top dead center. But for that, I'm going to need a flashlight. So those marks there, that 1 and that 3, we're trying to get those lined up with that pointer there. And I actually had to spin it twice because you also have to get that 1 on the camshaft to be facing up. And that means that cylinder 1 is at top dead center. So now we can start adjusting cylinder 1. So I'm just gonna take the feeler gauge. Okay, so everything's pretty close to a 0.005 inch here, and give me a second to look up what the spec is. So it looks like the spec is 0.007 inches on the intake and 0.008 on the exhaust, and right now everything's at like a 0.005, and that is way too tight, and that's actually what you expect. Valve clearances on these cars don't get looser as the engine wears, they actually get tighter due to changes in the valve seats. So we want to get that exhaust at a 0.008 and the intake at a 0.007. So what we're going to do, we're going to break loose our little jam nuts here and grab a flathead screwdriver and probably unplug these just to get them out of the way. There we go. Okay. Now I can use my flathead to screw the adjuster in and out. I want to do that while holding my 0.008 of an inch in there. I'm just going to loosen it until I can get it in there. I want it to be a bit more than that. I want this to be able to move fairly easily. You know, still some pressure on it, but it's slipping through there. Okay, that feels good. And I'm gonna keep moving this through here as I tighten up the jam nut, because that can affect the tightness, and that feels All right, so let's move on to the other one now. Camera battery died, wouldn't you figure? So now we're going for an 007 on the intake side here. So well, hopefully that was all fairly straightforward. You start with this one with the camshaft set to 1, and then you spin the engine over until the next flat part like that comes into view, and then you're ready for this cylinder, and then you spin it for the next one, and you're ready for that cylinder. So that is all 3 of the cylinders done, and I'm just gonna go through one more time, make sure that I got these tappets tight. Made the mistake of not double checking on a motorcycle I had once, and it dropped a valve. So if you don't want to be buying a new engine, we'll skip this step. Wonderful, and those don't have to be very tight. I think it's like 8 foot-pounds or something like that. I don't know, it's very small. I just do it by hand because I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low. So let's get our spark plugs, or our coils rather, plugged back in here. Drop the valve cover back into place. Gasket looks to be in good shape. Nice. There's 2 bolts for the valve cover that look different from all the others. It's these blue ones with this thicker shank. Those were both on this side on mine. I believe what those do is align the valve cover. So those will probably be what gets tightened down first. That's it, that's job done pretty much. I'm just gonna check the oil real quick. Gross. Looks pretty good. Let's go see how it does. Out here driving, and the car seems fine so far. That was the wrong gear. Car seems fine so far. Unfortunately, this didn't fix what I was actually hoping it would fix. It is a good bit of maintenance, but there's a bit of a sound coming from the engine. I was really hoping it was the valves, and it looks like that sound might not actually be the valves, which means I'm not really sure what the future is for this car. If this is a bottom end noise that I'm hearing, that's gonna be an engine, but is it gonna be an inside engine? I certainly can't afford to swap anything into this right now. So it's probably just going to be, you know, finding another 3-cylinder inside engine, because I don't want to give this car up. I mean, if the engine fails, this thing's gonna stay on the road somehow, because it's just such a good car. Oh. Someone did not negotiate that corner properly. That Lexus RX just went and yoked itself right off of there. And that guy saw me point the camera at him, so that's cool. Hey bud, if you're watching this. Oh no. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the future of this car is. It's been making that noise pretty much since I got it. Actually, I think it has been since I got it. So for now, hey, whatever. It's a slightly noisier Honda. A Honda making a ticking noise, who'd imagine? It hasn't gotten any worse though, so I'm going to hope that it continues to not get any worse and just keep driving the car. This has been my wife's daily and she actually loves it. It's far more enjoyable to drive than your normal economy box, and you really can't argue with the fuel economy, can you? And again, if you have the opportunity to drive one of these, I know I say this every time that I'm in this thing, but you gotta do it. It's just a great little car, especially for how old it is, and especially for this one being at 196,000 miles now on this little hybrid, and it just keeps on trucking. You gotta love it. You gotta love these old little Hondas. Well, that does it for today. That's my wife's daily all wrapped up for now. Thanks for watching.